I'm a police officer. Have been for 7 years. In my time in the force, I've seen some pretty fucked up shit, to say the least. Crazed druggies, abusive parents, and even a few calls for help from the suicides. But none of those could ever hope to compare to an emergency call I'd taken last month. I now abhor taking emergency calls, not because of the over-worried people calling about every little squeak in their house, the noise complaints, or even the occasional prank call, though those could get pretty annoying. No, the worst thing about taking an emergency call is knowing that I had to sit on the other side of the phone, and no matter how much I hoped, or how fast the squad car could get there, I had absolutely no control over the situation. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the story. The day was like any other, monotonous, and its predictability. It was a Wednesday night. The end of my shift was still a ways off. Don't get me wrong, I love being a police officer, but I didn't sign up to be a secretary. I sighed and flipped through the files on my desk, scanning through the different reports from earlier that day. There was nothing of dire importance, no hit and runs, robberies, or violent reports. Life in the country didn't require as much police attention as, say, any major cities. My phone rang on the corner of my desk, waking me from my thoughts. 911, what's your emergency? I said in a monochrome tone. Please, I need your help. A small feminine voice answered. I leaned forward. Yes, what's the emergency, ma'am? I repeated, preparing my pen and pad. There's someone outside my house. He's just standing there, she answered, sounding frightened. This was not entirely an unusual situation. There have been several different cases filed for crazed stalkers. Now stay calm. Everything's going to be all right, I said in my most convincing and gentle voice. I then continued with the standard questions. And how long has he been there, ma'am? I don't know. I just looked out the window a while ago and he was just standing there. He had just appeared there a little while after it got dark. That was about an hour ago, and he hasn't moved an inch or ever stopped looking at me. I stopped writing. This was getting a little strange. A person just standing in one place, never moving or even looking away. Whoever this was, I had a feeling that they could be very dangerous. Okay, man. We'll send an officer. What's your name and street address? The name and street address was given. With a hum, I wrote down the police address and gave it to an officer on the standby, and he went on his way there. Okay, ma'am. We're sending in a cruiser now. I could hear an audible sigh of relief. In the meantime, I began. Can you try to describe to me what the man looks like? Do you know him? I asked, identifyingly the perp, and making sure he was safe was the most important thing at this time. Well, I definitely don't know him, or anyone with that body type. He's tall, very tall, pale, and skinny, almost immaculate looking, and he's naked, I think, but I think he's too far to tell. Okay, can you see his face? Describe it for me? No, it's too dark to see his face, and I don't know how to describe it, but I know he's definitely looking at me, and has been this whole time he's been here. Are all your doors locked? I asked. I think my back door's still unlocked. I'll go lock it real quick. Okay, stay on the line. I heard her walk around the familiar resonant click of a deadbolt lock could be heard. Okay, I'm back. Now everything's locked. She trailed off. What is it, ma'am? I asked. Ma'am. I grew more uncomfortable in the silence. The quiet seemed to last forever until she spoke again in a more hushed tone than before. He's closer now. Before he was just at the edge of my woods 10 yards away, but now he's only half that. It's important you stay calm. Now, can you see any of his features now that he's closer? Yeah, it's weird. He is naked, but I cannot see any genitals or hair or, well, any defined features. It's like he's wearing some skin tight suit. I still cannot really see his face, but I can tell it's deformed in some way. He's still staring at me. It's so unnerving. Okay, ma'am, I'm going to need to get you to find a safe place to lock yourself in case anything goes wrong, I said calmly as possible, trying not to scare her any further. Yeah, okay. My bedroom door has a lock on it, and so does my bath. She trailed off once more, and I could hear a small whimper. Ma'am, is everything all right? He's closer. Her voice was so quiet that if I was not listening so intently, I could have missed it. Ma'am? I asked again. He's so much closer. I just absently-minded looked at my bathroom for a second, and then he cleared almost 30 yards from where he was to the house. But at least now I can make out his... Oh, God. Ma'am! My voice came in a small peep. I was on the edge of my chair. Oh, God, his face. I can see his face. It's pressed up against the window. It's awful. His eyes are so large, like black pool balls bulging out of his head. And he has this smile that goes from ear to ear, or where his ears should be. She let out with a sob. I need to stop her from getting hysterical over whatever it was on the other side of her window. Ma'am, are you going to need to get that safe place now? I said, regaining my commanding voice. No reply. Ma'am? Meh? I was interrupted. Help me. Her voice begged through the speaker of the phone, and it was soon followed by the sound of breaking glass. The phone clattered onto the floor with the clack of the hollow plastic. She let out a loud shriek. She said various pleas, begging to be let go, but to no avail. Her screams trailed away, sounding more and more far off, until I could not hear her anymore. Nothing but silence followed, and time seemed to slowly crawl. I did not know how long it lasted. I sat there. I waited for something, anything. I also did not realize how tightly I was holding onto the phone, not until I heard sirens of police cars and hung up. That was the squad's car that I had sent not 15 minutes ago.